So today's webinar is on how to create and use games to engage youth with MIL. And it's a product of our Latin America team. And it's going to be presented by Cristina Soto and Edgar Zamora, who both work for DW Akademie partner organizations in Guatemala. So I'll just start the webinar now, and as people join, hopefully people aren't missing too much. So Cristina works as a project manager for Comunicares, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, where she's been implementing processes to enable children, youth and women to use media, including radio, TV and social media, to help foster human rights and social development. And in the last couple of years, she's been merging digital tools and human rights together and has become involved with DW Akademie's MIL project. And she's also been adapting MIL to the Guatemalan context as a MIL trainer in rural areas for Indigenous youth. And Edgar is the project director of the multimedia platform Sonica in Guatemala, which is the first MIL media lab for urban youths in Central America. Oh, sorry. And he's been a pioneer of MIL through media with digital and analog tools for vulnerable youths in the city. And together with Sonica's team, he is the creator of the mobile radio studio, which visits schools, the MIL interactive booth on digital security, and MIL games such as Jenga and Memory, which you guys are going to learn about today. So I would like to hand over to them now. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
You guys can start to share your screen now.
Can you see the presentation?
Yes, it looks great.
Okay. So, hi everyone. We are excited and kind of nervous about this webinar, but we want to share with you how to create and use games to engage youth with MIL from our experience in Guatemala City.
Okay, welcome. Let's start.
Let's start. Okay. So first, we're going to give you a little bit of Guatemalan context for you to understand what the challenge of working MIL in our country is. So first, hello from Central America. We are the third biggest country, and Guatemala is divided in 22 districts. I'm going to just move this one over here for the moment. About the inhabitants, we are a little bit more of 16 million. We are divided in 4 cultural ethnic groups, Ladinos, Garífunas, Xincas, and Mayan. The last ones are subdivided in 22 ethnic groups. Our official language is Spanish, but we have 25 speech communities. Again, Xinca, Garífuna, and 22 of the 25 speech communities are Mayan. And this represents a big challenge. That's why they call us, and we are known as a multi-ethnic and multilingual country. And let's talk a little bit about the digital gap. The number you see here, it's the amount of active mobile users there is in Guatemala. It's almost 5 million more than inhabitants. Remember that we were almost 17 million. But let's talk a little bit more about other numbers. Recently, it was made a census back in 2018, and about media consumption, 71% of the homes have access to TV, 65% they have access to radio, and only 29% have access to internet. From this 29%, only 17% have access or to an internet service at home. So it was kind of alarming for us to know, because the traditional media is the #1 media they have access to. So if we are going to work with media and information literacy, this represents a big challenge for us. But we want to share a little bit more about our experience, and even with this percentage of 29% only, we have developed some games in an analog kind of way, but a very fun way to do it. And we have experienced good results that we will want to share with you.
Okay. So, who are we? We are, well, Sonica is a multimedia platform for young people. We work in many fields. We have a radio station. We have digital department that develop a lot of digital content of all kinds, and we have a formation field, a formation line of work, where we develop some games, just like Cristina was saying, and we develop a lot of workshops and educational experience about MIL.
And from Comunicares, we work communication for development. We promote human rights, freedom of speech, and we mainly focus on the work with children, youth, and women. So we work a lot of leadership and a lot of with local media like TV or radio stations. And that's basically something that we do. We also do workshops in rural areas. That's our main focus work, not urban, but rural. So that's where we complement each other.
Yeah, we work mainly on urban areas.
Okay.
Okay. So, in these years of experience, we had learned that we work different with two target groups. So, we teach what MIL is with teachers, educational centers, and civil society organizations. We teach them, or we talk with them about the importance of MIL. And we do MIL with urban youth, and in case of Comunicares, with indigenous youth. It's two different focuses. So the idea behind it is not to tell the youth or not to tell the young people that they are what is MIL. So we teach them to develop that competencies.
Yes, for us that is important, because we often don't hear like, hey, you are literate in something. So we want for youth to understand MIL or MIL as a day-to-day thing that they can do. So that is very important for us, rather than with teachers and educational centers and civil society, that they need to know how to teach other ones. But with the youth, we give them the tools for them and the competencies to develop in the digital world.
Okay, how to make MIL a fun experience? You are about to know.
You're about to experience it with us, because we want to play with you. Memory.com, that it's a memory card game of MIL. So this game, it's about manipulate images and how fast can you detect them. We already set the memory card over here. And the idea is that two participants that will like to play with us live would click in the raise hand button, and Luisa is going to help us to know which participants are going to play.
Yes, so Are there two brave people who would like to raise their hand and play this game with us? All you have to do is click the raise hand button and I'll know you are, or you can just say in the chat box if you'd like to do it. Actually, that's also an easier way to do it. It's a fun game. I promise it's not going to be too difficult.
Yes.
Okay. We'll just have to see if anyone's going to volunteer themselves.
It's a really fun and easy game, so join us. Don't leave us.
Okay, we have one person. Okay. Nanmandoj, I hope I'm saying your name correct. That's one. Do we have someone else? Okay, and Patricia. Okay, perfect. Let's do it together then. So how will this work? We're going to, you will show, or you can explain.
Okay, so we already mixed up the cards in these rows from A, B, C, and 1, 2. So you can choose a letter and a number that you want us to turn over the card, and we will show it to the camera so you can see it closer, and you will have to find the match. So we are going to give you a little tip of what kind of image manipulation you are going to find in this game. For example, you will find images manipulated in angle, in editing, and in manipulation that could be false context or false connection. So in the chat box, you can put, let me see if I can open the chat box. Yes. So you will have to write the number and the letter of the card you want us to pick up. I don't know if that's clear enough.
For this one, I think we're going to have to turn off screen sharing for a moment so that people can see it bigger.
Okay, let me just.
Yeah, great. Now we can see.
So in the chat box, you can put the letter, the A, B, or C, and you can, you will have to choose a number. So you can say, for example, 1A, and we will turn this one over and show it to the camera so you can see the card.
The objective of the game is to match the original image and the manipulated one.
Okay. Namander is telling us C2. So this one, you will have to find the pair. So it's Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt in a scooter traveling. So you can tell us your number and another letter that you think it's the match for this card.
Okay, we're just waiting. Denise, is she there?
A letter number. So as you see, it doesn't match. So we will have to turn them over again. So remember, in B2, in B2 is this one, and in C2 is this one. So now you will have to choose another letter and another word, and another, yes, number.
B2, otra vez?
No. Again, B2.
Ah, okay, no.
No, that was the original one.
A1.
Okay.
Okay. So this one is the actual image. Someone put it, its finger in a screen to create like they are the legs on the beach. So do you remember where the pair of this one was?
The...
Two. Yes. So that will be the first pair. As you can see, the manipulated one and the original one. Okay, so we find one pair. Which other letter and number would you like to choose?
So Nandor will choose one now?
Sure.
Yeah. A2.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So now it's Angelina Jolie, Brad Pitt, and a guy that we don't know, but apparently he really knows them. So do you remember where was the pair of this card? C2. Great. So we can see that, no, he doesn't know, as we don't know, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. And the last one, it's a really easy one. So we are just going to turn them over ourselves. So now, here we have Mike, you know, being really accepted in his speech, and everyone is crazy about what he just said. But in reality, it's just a few persons that support him. So as easy as that is to manipulate some images. Okay.
So we play this game with young people, and they had a lot of fun, and every time they match some card, we explain them about the different ways that image can lie on the internet.
Yes.
Leo, ¿cierto?
No, no.
Oh. Okay.
Okay.
So the game, it's called memory.com. So participants can recognize the manipulation of the different image and the motivations behind them. We focus, this game focuses on analysis and reflection on the meal competencies. It's a very easy game to understand. That's why we choose this game to play here, because it's easy, it's simple. Participants have a lot of fun playing it. This is a mini version of this game. The game in real.
The actual cards are like this size.
Yeah, are really
it's
big.
Bigger.
And they play it in groups, and they win points if they match a lot of the images. The images used are related to the participants, and it's a lot of usually it's the same that they see on their feeds, and participant can easily relate to the game and share their own experiences.
The last point is very, very important for us, because we get to know what the consumption habits are, or what they face on online, on their online experience. Even if it's Facebook or Instagram or even YouTube, they putting this in this game for us. It represents the opportunity to keep knowing the tendencies that they follow. So that's why this game, it's very important, easy, but as moderators of the games, it's really important the information that you can get from them in first person.
Okay, we have a video to show you. It's what we call Reto 1069, like challenge 1069. We go to the schools with a mobile studio, radio mobile studio, and a lot of these meal games. And this is a video about that visits. Last year we visit around 75 schools. I think that it was up to 4,000 students that play with our games.
Okay. So I don't know, Luis, if we can share in the chat box the link of the video and we can watch it without the sound.
Yeah, so I would recommend just muting your audio for a moment, and I'll mute mine too, and pop the link into the chat box, and then everyone can watch it on their own devices. So we'll just give them a couple minutes to watch it.
So there's the link.
It's a very short video.
I don't know if, wait, I didn't change this one. So there goes the link in the chat box.
Oh, nice.
We are going to mute our microphone.
Yeah.
Now.
Or you just don't play it as you want. And I'll mute mine so I can watch it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, how long's the video?
So another game that we love to play with, it's Mil Jenga. The objective of the game is the young people can take knowledge of the habits of media consumption. So participants discuss the related themes about habits of media consumption, online behavior. It mainly focuses on the competencies of analysis and reflection. Some of the topics are disinformation, hate speech, online privacy and safety, and cyberbullying. So it's giant Jenga, and they have to read the question in the piece. Yeah. Yep. So they have to answer it before they put it in the top. So they had a lot of fun, and they reflect about the question and all their own habits. This is one example of the Mil Jenga. They take the piece, so they'll read the question, and we show them this meme that it's a racist meme. So we learn about if what they think about this meme, and if they share it in their Facebook or their social network.
Rigoberta Menchú is a Guatemalan public figure. She's known for receiving the Nobel Peace Prize for her work for social justice and respect of the rights of ethnic groups. Racism it's a big topic here in Guatemala, and you can see it everywhere. You know, you can hear it, you can watch it on TV. There's racist jokes about it, there are racist memes about it, and this is just an example where they put her a filter so they can seem like a white person. She's all makeup. And this will be fun for somebody. But what we want with this game is for them to reflect that it isn't. So a little bit of explanation of this meme will be that sometimes memes have a double message. It is important to identify the memes that denigrate or offend other people because of their ethnicity, color, race, sexual orientation, etc. It's nice if you enjoy the memes you see on the internet as long as they don't affect others. So this is kind of the reflection that the moderator of the game does with the participants.
Okay, as traditional Jenga, participants take out a piece of the tower, but instead putting it on the top right away, they answer the question asked in the piece they took out. After they answer, the moderator of the game gives a short feedback, just like Cristina said, in order to make sure participants understand. The participants gain amount of points, and they pass through all the 5 games, and they go gaining points.
So remember, this game is also part of the circuit of games with the, how do you call it?
Reto 106.
Of the Reto 106.9. So they are gaining points if in each station, and at the end of the game, well, they will receive something nice.
Okay, the size is the size of the Jenga. Like I said, it's a very big Jenga, so it's very fun to play with. It creates expectation and excitement among participants, allow young people to share their point of view about online topics. Participants associate the topics with their own online experience, and this is very important. We learn about their online habits, so we can aim better in future games or future methodologies. Okay, we developed this comic book. It's addressed online safety. We want to talk about this topic with an interesting story that the young people can relate it to. So we developed this comic book. It is a really it's very interesting for the young people, this kind of media, because it's not the common. So they can learn about online safety with it. This is the explanation of the story. April, it's the young woman that
the main character.
The main character, yeah, who leaves her Facebook open in a cyber cafe, and someone changed her password and posting in her behalf. The comic focuses on April. The path to recover her Facebook account. There are the topics: online privacy and safety, cyberbullying, and virtual blackmail. That the topics. We developed 2 methodological guide that use with the comic for the young people to can develop the competencies that we are interested in too. So there is not only the comic book, we have 2 guide, a methodological guide to ensure that they can learn about.
Something important about this comic is that we said that it's close to their reality, because April, the main character, she lives with her grandmother. Her mother lives abroad, so we are talking about migration. She uses public transportation. She studies in a public university, and she doesn't have internet service at home. So this is the reality of the young people that Sonica visits in the schools, so they can relate to the character. So this one, it's very important to mention.
We also develop some workshops, and we have a summer camp experience that called Creativos. The summer camp, it's about radio production, but really it's a meal experience for young people, so they can learn not only to produce radio programs, they too learn about memes and image manipulation and other meal topics. Some of the competencies that we develop in this summer camp are access. We teach them about online searches, resource, and online sources, analysis, critical thinking, and attitude toward the information they have to access to, recognizing media interest, track and decode the speech behind memes and bubbles, and information bubbles, etc. They learn about creation too. They produce their own radio program, and they reflect about their social media consumption.
So this will be easier to explain if we could explain it in Spanish, but no, we're going to explain it to you in English as well. So we already talked about some meal games like the Jenga and the memory and other materials as the comic, but what about the part where we are not only working with youth right now? So how do we enroll other people to learn about meal? So this is why we are working and we are developing our first course, online and on-site. It's called Amidual because meal in Spanish, it's AMI. So this one, it's currently being developed for tutors and volunteers of the Guatemala Institute for Radio Education, that it's the mother of Sonica. So IHER has a lot of students, and they have a lot of tutors and volunteers to attend the amount of youth they have in their educational program. So we have developed this course in which we try to introduce in a very kind of subtle way the competencies. For example, there is going to be 4 modules online and 2 on-site workshops to reinforce the learnings they made in the virtual course. So in the first one, we are going to develop different materials for them to know about resources, sources, and quality of the content. This for us it's the first one, and maybe it's not about media, but how they access to information, you know, because we were talking a lot and we discussed a lot that media and information literacy, sometimes it only focuses on the media part, and we wanted in this first model to focus on the information part. So in this one, we don't talk only about searching on Google, on YouTube, or other digital resources, but also do it in the old-fashioned way. Go to the library, ask someone, maybe your teacher knows, your father knows about this experience. So we try to balance that it's not only a digital, mostly because remember that only 29% in Guatemala have access to internet. So which other resources and sources they can have. So for us, it was really important to bring this topic to the table. There's not only digital sources that will go with disinformation or fake news. It can be mouth to mouth, for example. In the second model, we try again with access and analysis, but this one focused mainly on the analysis part about the motivations, the media interests, types of disinformation, and how to recognize potential biases. And in this one, we not only share with them information about how media and traditional media and digital media can have these interests or types of disinformation or the potential biases, but how we as consumers and now creators of content can be disinformation or being sharing fake news, or how we share content that it's sorry, I'm asking in Spanish because it doesn't come the word in English, but how our own interests and our own beliefs determine the type of content that we share online. So for us, it's very important through Amidual and even in the summer camp experience of Creativos and in the memory card game and in the Jenga mill game to reinforce that idea that you are not only a consumer, you are a creator, and you have to be responsible of what you share and what you produce. So this model is a little bit more about that. And the model 3, it's about access and reflection, a little bit of digital identity, privacy, and online security. We know that it's not often a topic, but here in Guatemala City, it's getting bigger, the topic about sexting. So in this model, we address that topic as well, not only about how to, for example, not only about the bubble filters or about algorithms or safe passwords or the virus or malware. We also talk about this topic because it's really important for us. Especially in rural areas, the sexting it's a topic that is growing. And in module 4, we have reflection and action. And here we address hate speech, digital responsibilities as consumers and creators, trending and viral content. This was very something that we wanted to focus on because of the challenges and the trending topics and the tendencies that can be online that sometimes can put you as a person in real life, or we can say offline, in risk. And not only yourself, but others. I don't know if you remember about the Kiki challenge, for example, the one that people dance Drake song while the car was moving. So what kind of risk, maybe it's fun, but what kind of risk can that bring up? So we talk a little bit about it. We also talk, for example, about the cinnamon challenge, where you put a lot of cinnamon in your hand and you eat it, and you have to see how much you can take of cinnamon. So what kind of risk, offline risk does that brings? We talk about a lot of online interaction and online to offline causes. As a team, as the Guatemala team, we are always in debate and in discuss about these competencies and what do they actually mean. And for us, we have, through the games experience, how we can put them in action. the creation one, the competency of creation, we wanted the on-site workshops to reinforce that competency, but we are still struggling to understand about mostly creation and action one. The one with the access, analysis, and reflection, we have it clear, but we are still experimenting, and we are still exploring, and mostly through games to make this experience something that they can apply day to day, and because for us it's most important for us that they have the tools to defend themselves online and to be responsible of what they consume and what they produce, than for them to know exactly the definition of what is meal. So this is our experience with meal in Guatemala City. We will sound a lot more convincing if we were in Spanish, but we were in English. So we hope that we make ourselves clear, I guess.
If any question?
Thank you guys so much for such a wonderful presentation. You were very clear, don't worry. Yeah, please don't stress about that. Yeah, so we've got about 10 minutes left for questions. Oh, here we go. We've got a question from Lena. Says that she really likes the modules of the course, and she's asking if there's any possibility to share the content of those modules.
That's an excellent question.
So it's in Spanish?
Yes.
I think there is no problem.
It will be no problem if you understand Spanish. We can share them if you like. But yeah, we can share.
We can discuss that, and then I can pass them on once we've worked out how we can get maybe an English translation or something like that. And we have another question here from Sylvia. She's asking if you also use the games to educate the teachers and multipliers, or if you train them on how to use the games and then they then use them with youth.
I think we are in an early phase of these games. We mostly play these games with young people, with teachers. We have played in workshops and other kind of activities. But it's true that we have to teach them how to use these kind of games. We also develop meal games kits in mini versions, so they can use it in their schools. But it's a project that is developing right now.
Great. Oh, guys, could I ask you to stop sharing your screen as well, just so we can see you a bit better? And we have another question while you're doing that. Thank you. It's from Ina, I hope I'm saying your name correctly, who says, thank you so much for a great presentation. My question is regarding old and new media. Since the citizens usually consume traditional media and you engage them with radio, how much do you also incorporate TV? And they're asking how relevant it would be regarding disinformation spread on traditional media in your country.
That's a great question.
Okay. We have a lot of traditional media that spread disinformation. It's a reality in our country. Our games and our experience, a lot of them, or the majority, are designed for the digital world. It's true that we have to develop other strategies to teach young people specifically, and the consumption of or the critic use of of this media? I don't know if you...
Well, in my case, and in my reflection and analysis, the TV here, it's very a difficult topic, because only few are the owners of the channels,
of the stations.
Of the stations. We don't know how to say it in English, but for example, it's just like families with big power, or they are a lot of interests. So the part 171, I think I remember it is, that have access to TV, for example, in rural areas, the channels that they have access are the open ones, right?
Yeah, the open ones.
That it's only like 2 or 3 of them that are being controlled by these powerful families or powerful persons.
That 2 channels or 3 channels are of the same guy, and he had a lot of problems, legal problems.
Yes.
Here in Guatemala, but he controlled the media. The traditional media, he controls.
Yes, and for example, in the experience of Comunicares, maybe right now we are going to explore the meal topic in rural areas, and mostly with indigenous youth. But in our experience, we can make alliances with local TV stations and radio stations for them to promote, for example, the content that youth produce in our workshops. So it's easier in rural areas and it was not departments, it was
districts.
In the districts to work with media, traditional media as allies, than in urban areas. It's almost impossible. If you don't pay, you wouldn't get the chance to do it. I don't know if that it's clear enough.
If we answered
your question or not.
Okay, if that answers your question, you can just write a message in the, oh yeah, they said yes, you did. Do we have any more questions? We have a few more minutes. If you'd like to quickly write something in the chat box. I had a quick question that I would like to ask while we're waiting for a few other people. I wanted to ask about what are the main challenges of working in a country that has so many, I think you could describe them as speech communities.
A big one. For example, in urban areas, Spanish, no problem. Like, for example, you will have access to internet or to a device. It can be a mobile, or it can be a computer, or it could be an internet cafe. But in rural areas, that it gets more difficult, more and more difficult. In our experience, maybe, for example, families can have one phone that it's being shared. Or, for example, we do multilingual productions, but it's only in the interior. And something that is important to point at is that these speech communities mostly speak the language, but not necessarily can write it or read it. So read, I don't know which is
That's correct. Yeah, read it, yeah.
Verb. But so that it's a challenge because, for example, if we wanted to do a digital platform and put it in not only Spanish, but Cachiquel or Quiche or Mam, that are all other speak languages, we couldn't do it, because they will have to read it, or they will have to write it, and they wouldn't know how. So it's easier, and that's why it's easier to still use radio as a platform, because let's face it, it's still big here in Guatemala, and it's a great tool still to use.
Okay, thank you very much. And I had one other quick question about the mill games. And what is the target age group? Kind of the age groups you're
Okay.
with?
It's young people from 14 to 20.
14 to 20. Okay.
A lot of them are from public schools and educational centers that are in vulnerable areas
Or
of the
marginal
city.
areas.
Or marginal areas. Yeah.
Okay, great. Oh, here we go. We've got another question from, sorry, but a few more questions. So Bettina's asking, did you address schools so that pupils could participate on your mill activities? Or how do they become aware, for example, of the summer camp? How are you reaching students?
Yeah, we make on our website, we put
Open invitation.
yeah, an open invitation. They have to fill a form and tell us why they are interested to participate in this summer camp, and we choose 20 between a lot of solicitations. But we some years we make now only one version of the summer camps. We make 6 of them, or 2 of them, or 3 of them, depends of the money.
Yes.
It's free. It's free for the young people who want to participate.
Okay, great. And we've got another question about the size of the games. So, and they're asking about what was the process like building the giant Jenga?
We designed it in with our team, and we have to talk to people who build things like BTL or I don't know, items for publicity that are big and flashy. So we talk to them and present our designs and our ideas, and they have to
recommendations.
They
did recommendations about the materials which will suit best because of the size of it, and
that there is not dangerous, durability, not dangerous for the participants and something like that. But we designed it in team. We have a very creative team. And
okay, cool. Okay, any more questions out there? If there's not, we can I think we can probably start to wrap up. So thank you so much for today, guys.